So I go up to, I'm assuming the main computer system's in the cockpit.
Main computer system would actually be in the main area. Okay. You can access it through a holo table, or there's a kind of like in the Falcon. Mm-hmm. There's that spot that Han Solo would sit at, or when he was talking to Luke and Obi-Wan. There's kind of a spot like that in the Fathom Dancer. Or if you want, you can access it from the cockpit. That's up to you.
It's not necessary. I can go to the main area.
Okay.
I just want to plug into news archives. Chu said that the races were actually still in the same location, but I want to get a better feel for...
The planet Allmarsh does actually have a planetary net. It's not a holo net. It's not like the Imperial holo net, but it is a planetary news net. So if you want to make a computer's roll to see if you can type into that, it's not going to be very hard. You're just getting basic information. You're not trying to hack into anything.
14.
All right, you easily get the information that you are looking for. There is a race that is happening on the planet the weekend. It's about 5 days from now, and it's one of the big ones. There are people and sentients from other planets coming to this one. There's a huge advertisement that Rollo the Vendarin will be on planet to race amongst some of the local celebrities, some of the local racers, as it's going to be a rather large affair. There are a number of kind of talks about, in Star Wars terms, like the tickets sold. There's going to be a larger number of people here, and there's just a big to-do with this one. So there should be a lot of sentience there, a lot of crowd, and a lot of individuals to talk to, depending on how you want to approach this.
Okay, so that's a good
And
place.
The hut will obviously be in attendance.
Okay. All right. When Chu is actually kind of awake, I'll get some more like random.
All right, go ahead and make me another roll for him. 2D plus 3. See if he can heal that second one. That second wound.
$14.
All right, so he does. He is better. He has healed most of, with the power of the Force, has healed most of his superficial damage, and you can tell by kind of looking him over. You do have first aid. Kind of looking him over, you see that a lot of his internal injuries, the Force has healed. So he does look a lot better. Right now, you're just thinking that he needs rest.
Chu, you're welcome to stay as long as you need to. I would actually recommend at least one more night before, put some distance between that and going back to salvage whatever you can.
Yes, my safe house has been quite compromised. I'll have to sneak in and see what... He looks a little exasperated. See what I can salvage, see what I can get out, and see if I can find something, someplace else to hide.
I'm so sorry, Chu.
It is... I understand something must be done. If I will stay here for now, if that is okay. And he kind of looks at you with his large, just black bulbs of eyes. I will stay here as long as I can, and if I can help you in any way to find your brother, my friend, and the others, I will do so. It is, I must say, like I said before, like I said earlier, I've hid for too long. And he just kind of slumps, and you can kind of feel this wave of guilt kind of flowing off of him.
You didn't have backup before.
He kind of half-heartedly smiles at you, his jowls quake ever so slightly.
Are you really the only one of the dragons still here?
I was not able to contact anyone else. At the very least, there was Gage sent out a call for anybody in the group to hide. I have not been able to contact anyone since then.
So they might just be really good at hiding, too.
Not picking up the comm system. He just kind of nods and once again deflates.
Alright. So I have the beginning of a way to get at least a little bit of information. The beginnings of a plan formulating. But I need to know who the politics of the swoop gangs have been so fluid ever since I can remember. So I need to know who the dragon's allies were when this all went down.
The dragon's allies are gone. Once we were hit, as badly as we were hit, there's no one that we can rely on. And you don't know if it's actually true, but that's what he believes.
All right. Okay. Well, that does affect how I approach things.
I'm sorry. I wish I could be more help.
It actually does help. I need to figure out how to approach it. There's a big race happening this weekend.
The Glacia Open. Yes, it is, I believe, yes, I'm sorry I did not remember earlier. It is one of the larger races. One of the ones that is, that they have once a quarter. It will invite many people to the planet.
Rolo's coming, so that's something.
He does have quite a fan following, even here.
I think that I'm going to go to the Glacia Open.
Will you be taking your friend with you?
Yes. The weekend's days away. He should be well rested and ready.
What about that little unit you have? If you want, I can look it over.
I think you and Ari could get along pretty well. Ari's a quirky little thing.
Oh, most astromechs are. He kind of smiles a little half-heartedly to himself.
He's seen some rough days, and he came to the rebellion through my master Greg. But before Greg met him,
Your master. Oh, your training, yes.
Before Greg met him, he was a pirate.
Chew smiles and actually kind of laughs at that.
So he's got quite a mouth. But he knows his stuff. I'm sure that if you look him over and help him optimize some of his knowledges, he would appreciate that.
We shall see.
I can introduce you. So I just call over, hey Ari, you busy?
There's no answer for a moment or two, and then you hear from pretty much across the ship and basically kind of a what tone that you remember, and he will start to roll towards your location. You can hear him coming closer and closer. You're assuming he was in the engine compartment.
Before he comes into the room, I'll just turn to you. We don't talk about his scar, though.
It's all right.
You'll see.
He just kind of nods at you.
Chew, this is Ari. He's our pilot.
He kind of rolls in, and as he kind of looks at Chew, he just a quick twitter towards Chew, and he kind of looks and
then I'll be like, Ari, Chew actually has pretty extensive knowledge on droid programming and repair, so he's willing to help you hone any knowledges that you might think that need honing.
As he just kind of looks at you, looks at Chew, you can see that his dome, obviously, Ari has not the kind of the R2 dome. It's more of a like an R5 unit. Mm-hmm. But you can tell that he's a little wary. He's kind of rolling it slowly towards you so that he can see you with his main ocular, and then kind of using a secondary ocular to look at Chew.
I've known Chew for my whole life. And some of Chew's best friends are droids.
He just kind of looks slowly at you.
Just get to know him a little bit. I know you don't have to let him mess with your insides. I know how touchy you get about that, but he might help you a little.
He just kind of looks back at Chew and will just kind of sit there, and he kind of starts to mumble to himself as, what are you doing? Are you staying?
I'll just let them talk or hang out or let Ari do whatever.
Okay. You kind of leave the little chamber that Chew has been laying in, sleeping in, and you can hear Ari kind of twittering as they appear to start to have some kind of conversation. You're not really sure how this conversation is going to go, but they, at the very least, start to open a dialogue.
Then I go back to Felix after my reading through the news. And I'll sit down with him.
Okay.
After, if he's still in his chambers, then I'll just, gesture to a place to sit and, you mind?
He just nonchalantly shrugs his shoulders and points to a chair.
So.
Actually, go ahead and make me a healing roll for him as well. The 3D plus 2. He's only wounded once at this point, so should not be too bad for him to...
Plus 2?
Yep.
10.
Okay. You see that Ashley, as you come in and sit down, he will kind of stand up, kind of shift his weight back and forth on his two legs. He definitely tries to force a little bit of weight, a little bit more stretching on the one that he was favoring earlier, and kind of nods to himself a little bit kind of, I'm sorry, I'm not thinking of the word, but he's definitely on the mend. You can feel, you can see that he doesn't appear to be moving like he's hurt at all. There is still some bruising kind of on his face. You can see a little bit on his arm, but other than that, he's moving very with a lot of health and vigor.
I'm glad to see you're feeling better.
Yeah. He kind of looks down at you as you're sitting. He's standing. Interesting trick. So what you need.
So,
And he'll sit on the bed, kind of put his hands on his knees, or put his arms on his knees and kind of steeple his hands a little bit.
So, this weekend, which is in about 5 days, there's a big race, big swoop race that will take place here. It's called the Glacia Open. And Rolo's going to be there. It's like a big celebrity event. The Hut will be there.
Never heard of this Rolo, but if the Hut's going to be there.
Gruda will be there. So I thought one way to draw information or sources or trouble to us would be to go to the races and not be sneaky about it.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not going to go in and yell who I am and all that, but most of the people who have been racing with my brother for years and years know who I am. In essence, don't go in disguise.
Are you looking for a firefight?
I'm not. That's why I'm choosing this race, because this race won't draw that.
And Are you sure? We've been in 2 firefights since we've been here.
That's very true. However, both of them have been in private-ish places. This is a very public, very big sporting event for the planet. The swoop gangs on Allmarsh are pretty much the people of Allmarsh. Pretty much, if you're not in a swoop gang, you associate with somebody who is.
Yeah. As a knowledge that Morrigan would have, the swoop gangs are basically kind of the seconds of the Hut organization. They're the enforcers. They're the middle managers, so to speak. Then you have the people, though, that live here. A lot of them are employed by the Hut cartel in various, now whether they do something illegal or not, or if they do something illegal because they're in like the spice factory or something like that, they make a meager living. They don't make enough to leave the planet. They've been here all their lives. A lot of the people work for the syndicate just in various, like if I would go to a job, they go to their job, but it's just for a criminal organization. But that's how they feed their family. They don't make a lot of money, so you're kind of seeing these sporting events as not only do they not make a lot of money, but then their money for their entertainment goes back to the cartels or the empire, the Hut crime empire. So that's for the normal person. That's kind of how this planet runs.
It being one of the big races, one of the big events, someone there is going to recognize me, and someone there might confront me, but not at the race.
All right. Not sure if I like this plan all that much.
The only other plan I came up with was actually going to the Hut. I don't think that would work any better. Probably worse. I can't bluff my way through that, but I might be able to bluff my way through something else.
I see.
Also, big crowds of people mean most of the criminals will behave. At least physically.
He kind of moves his head in a way that he doesn't know if that's actually the case, but he'll go with you on it for now. This is your world after all.
I need to somehow smoke out just one more piece of information or something to begin to know where to start the hunt for where my family is, where the Saffone is specifically.
All right.
And the only people I know who would know that would be people who work for Saffone or people who work for the hut. Directly, not like Joe Schmo in the Spice Factory.
Joe Schmo?
Random person.
So, what are we going to do for 5 days?
Well, Chu and Ari are getting to know each other. I think that we just need to get a feel for... Been reading the news, but the news is not necessarily a good barometer for how things feel with the population. So I think we need food. We need to go to the market.
All right.
I need to get a feel for how people feel, how people are living. Saffone is a new player that was not here when I lived here before and seems to be somebody who's a big player. I want to kind of feel out how, or even if, his presence has changed how things feel.
All right, so let's do this as a streetwise test. Mm. So instead of actually going out and playing you going to the store, basically.
No, that's fine.
We are going to, you have decided to go to a few kind of strategic locations and gauge how people are living, how they're reacting to certain things. You may go to some cantinas to kind of get the feel of the local populace. So go ahead and make me a streetwise roll, and we'll see how well you do.
All right. $14.
Okay, 14. That is a moderate difficulty there. Not a lot has changed for the common people that live on Allmarsh. They toiled when you were here before, and they're toiling now. They don't have a lot. They do find joy in things. I mean, you do see kids, like when you went to get food, you do see kids playing, having fun, annoying their parents with the antics that they do. However, there's not a lot of forward thinking. People go about their lives, they do their job, they make their money, they feed their families. Most of the things that are being run are top down. So if you would consider Gruda the king of the world, then his lieutenants and their lieutenants kind of run the city. Now, there were basically two large cities on Allmarsh. One of them in disrepair, one of them bombarded when the Republic took down the Trade Federation in the area. The one that was able to sustain itself, besides some of the smaller outlying communities, was Junta. Junta is a massive city. If you take Earth, it is about the size of maybe 2 Alaskas. It is massive. That's why it's kind of called, at least for this area, the Coruscant of the Outer Rim. Other than that, the planet is a jungle. very few large bodies of water, nothing like the Pacific or Atlantic Oceans, but large enough that it does have seas. So everything is kind of governed by the criminal empire. Now, granted, you might have a lower level functionary just being a local person. There is some election going on for kind of local leaders, but even those local leaders, if push comes to shove, they are subordinate to Gruda's people. And in that, the enforcers, the swoop gangs. They fought amongst themselves before Gruda arrived. When Gruda arrived with the power of the Hutt Empire, all of that basically ceased. Didn't cease, but they had somebody that would have been in power to squash any open fights. So by necessity, the swoop gangs had to follow Gruda's lead. With the Imperials leaving the area. Now, granted, the Imperials didn't do a lot. Allmarsh was kind of a cesspool even during the Empire. It was a trade federation hub, one of the headquarters in the area for the Separatists. However, once it was kind of ruined by the battle with the Republic, there was only a small token force of Imperials that were left here. Gruda quickly was able to snatch them up, bribe them, kill who he needed to kill, and ran the Imperial side himself as well. When they left, and this is kind of what you're getting with some of your investigating, not only your streetwise from seeing people, overhearing conversations, looking on the planetary net, you get the idea that Saffone has given Gruda a way to gain influence off planet. Not that he needs it so much, because Gruda does have an empire that does span a number of star systems. However, being allied with Saffone, it gives him some firepower as well. Basically, this Saffone's pirate fleet replacing the meager Imperial flotilla that was in system, mostly being a cruiser and a number of fighters. You don't know what Gruda has given Saffone, however, and you don't know the exact specifics of their relationship. All you know is that people know that these ships show up with these supplies or whatever, and whether they run spice, they run slaves, they're a new player in town.
All right. That's pretty much what we spend the week just kind of on and off doing, and making sure Chew's okay, and that, okay. I mean, we lay low.
Okay.
We did have 2 firefights, so we lay low.
Okay. Make me a stealth roll. Sneak. As you are going out and about.
20.
20, wow.
I blew up.
Very, very good. Let's see if anybody even notices. Alright, let's look up the thugs, because at this point, that's pretty much who you would be encountering on the streets of Allmarsh. And let me go ahead and roll to see if they notice at all. Alright. There we go. All right. So, what is their perception? Not great. Let's see here.
They might get lucky.
Not that lucky. They did roll well, but not that well. So you trying to stay hidden, trying to stay under the radar, at least until the Glacia open. You do see some gangs. You do see some members of the various swoops that you remember. Some of them might be new. However, you are easily, with your training and being a ex-rebel, are able to not be seen, not draw attention to yourself.